Hey everybody, Boris from Forex. Welcome to the crosses section for July 24th to July 28th, 2017. And this week, I'm actually doing something very unusual for me. All of my cross ideas are exactly the same as they were last week, except I'm very different directionally on a lot of these cross ideas. So looking around, I was just sort of surprised at some of the reversals we've had in the crosses and why it merits for us to sort of entertain the possibility of trades the other way. And therefore, the cross ideas I have this week are exact same ones I had last week, which is Kiwi Yen, this time with the resistance 83.50 to support 81.50. Euro Pound now very much at resistance at 90, 100, and 88. And this is in many ways really a trade on whether the Euro reverses at these levels or not, because I think it's really much more of a Euro trade than a Pound trade as we go forward. And there's, of course, a little bit of a oomph if the pound GDP comes in stronger than expected. And I think the most interesting and really the most lucrative trade this week could be Aussie Kiwi to the other side, to the reverse side. Just as it was a huge buy at the beginning of the week last week and then turned into a massive sell, I think it could be a huge sell at the beginning of this week, and then we'll see whether it sort of dies out. But it certainly has a lot more to the downside to go as we go forward. Let's take a look at the charts here, and I'll show you what I mean on all of these ideas. So let's take a look at first on Aussie Kiwi. I'm sorry, Aussie Yen. I'm sorry, Kiwi Yen. I'm getting myself confused and running around. So the Kiwi Yen story here is, we kind of went from a, let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see this is a weekly candle. Went from a negative hesitation candle to a positive hesitation candle, right? And there are two possibilities here for me that kind of make it interesting. First of all, they bought the bottom. It's relatively bullish. Secondly, the high here is about 83.17. Any type of positive yen short covering, I think, could be very positive for this move, simply because the Kiwi remains relatively strong, and the yen crosses. As a yen cross, it's one of the better yen crosses to get long on the upside. Conversely, if the yen is sort of sold out, and if we don't have too much of a movement to the downside, the move in the Kiwi towards 75 just naturally can push us towards the 83.50 level, perhaps even all the way out to 84. So the hesitation that we saw last week, which was negative, now turns to hesitation that is positive, and that makes it kind of interesting as a trade to the upside. Now, Euro Pound is, as almost everybody can see, right up there, right up at the very, very key 90 level, right? So, we had the spike highs here in the post-Brexit moves, and then 90 has been a cement ceiling in many ways for the Euro-Pound cross, and we're coming back to challenge this. So this is a very interesting trade. Now we close up at the highs of the week. It's a very bullish breakout candle, but we're coming up against this very, very strong resist point. And in many ways, I think this whole 90 to 91 area really becomes a prove it to the market trade here. Again, spec shorts, you could sort of just jump in front of this locomotive and see if it works. Try to short the 90-91 on the assumption that it's just going to fail here as a double top. You can see how the trade goes in the first couple of days. If we get a little bit of weakness, then certainly we could have a potential here for a lower double top, which is even more negative and provides even more potential here to the downside. And all of this, as I said, is really a corrective Euro move in more ways than one. Or you could just continue to press the momentum, and that's what makes this trade so interesting. You could press the shorts here and see if it has a chance here to go towards the 91 level. The near-term momentum really does look relatively good, but as I said, we do have positive UK data potentially midweek. Euro coming up against this big resist point, and it'll be interesting to see if Yellen comes in and tries to support the dollar, because support of the dollar will likely show a stronger profit taking in the euro than it will in the pound at this point. So in many ways, that's an interesting trade as we go forward. And then, of course, last but definitely not least, really my favorite trade of the week right now as we start is this trade. So this is a weekly candle. It is a massive flame out candle. Look at this massive flame out candle. Just to show you the analogs. Let's get a little bit bigger here so you can see the analogs. So whenever you have the kind of, and by a flame out I mean a shooting star candle. So here's a shooting star candle. This is actually a positive shooting star candle, but still a shooting star candle on the weeklies and the Aussie Kiwi. There's clearly a little bit of downside momentum. Enough for maybe 80 to 100 points of downside momentum coming in here, right? Even here, which was a massive flame out candle, you still have you certainly don't have a full bullish impulse. You had a bullish impulse that ended up correctively. So if you scaled up into this short, you would have still been able to make money. All of these flame out candles over here definitely show a move to the downside. But I think this one, as we get, let me just sort of take you candle by candle and show you. As you get to this level, this is just a technically very negative move here. You have a flame out at a lower level, a failure to kind of retake this whole 108, 110 corridor, and quite a lot of downside movement all the way to 104 before you have support. And all of this, of course, is based upon the idea that the whole interest rate expectation in Australia has been misunderstood, and it can be much worse if the CPI comes in cold, which is really the key trade here. This is the short trade in this particular pair is basically a bet on, one, the market anticipating a cold CPI, and two, if the cold CPI does indeed come in, certainly seeing the pair fall even further. So kind of an interesting trade. I really like this as my best cross trade idea to the short side at the beginning of the week, both momentum wise and fundamental wise. And that's how it shapes up. I wish you guys the best luck, the best of trading. Boris Schlossberg, over and out.